In this WrestleTalk news, more details, hints, and backstage chatter about Bray Wyatt's potential return to WWE, Tony Khan is shooting on WWE again, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Ever since Bray Wyatt's release from WWE in July 2021, fans have been so desperate to see a return from him that they'll latch onto any little hint that could be construed as cryptic and try to twist a narrative that this means that Bray Wyatt is coming back. For example, Dexter Lumis's glove in a backstage fight, or Edge's spooky videos before his latest return. But now there's been the White Rabbit teases, and fans rightly have been speculating about this one actually really being Bray Wyatt's return. The song White Rabbit has been played at WWE live events during breaks, and a QR code led to a more overt White Rabbit tease from this week's Raw. So is fan speculation getting wildly out of hand? What do people backstage in WWE think of this? According to Fightful Select, nobody that they spoke to, talent or on-screen staff, have been informed as to what the White Rabbit teases are, though almost unanimous reaction is in line with the fans in speculating that it could be Wyatt's return. Fightful had previously reported that the chance of Wyatt returning under the new Triple H regime was significantly higher than before, and that WWE had made contact with Wyatt in an effort to get him to rejoin the company. Numerous people within WWE reportedly think it's a matter of time before Wyatt comes back, with many expecting it sooner rather than later. The people being kept in the dark aren't just the wrestlers though, as members of WWE's production crew are also reportedly unaware of what's happening. This is noteworthy, as these are the sorts of people who are usually clued in to returns like this. The situation is reportedly being kept very close to the vest within the company. Interestingly, everyone that Fightful spoke to noted that WWE would have to follow through on this tease with something big and couldn't disappoint the fans. The hourglass element of the Hangman video and the fact that White Rabbit was his name in Lucha Underground, there are some potential arguments to be made that this is all about Karrion Kross and not Bray Wyatt. However, one longtime staff member reportedly said that this wouldn't have been a bad way to reintroduce Kross to WWE, but now that he's already been back for 2 months, this doesn't feel like something the new regime would do, with another noting that paying off a tease like this would be integral in setting the tone for shows moving forward. WrestleVotes on Twitter has also weighed in, with them noting that a source of their own suspects it to be Wyatt, but that it's being withheld from everyone, and that WWE would like to keep this as quiet as possible. And now there's even more evidence that he could be returning soon, as on the Extreme Rules graphics for the 2 matches announced for the show so far, there's some spooky backgrounds. But there's a couple of differences between the Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins one and the Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey one. While absent on the women's graphic, on the Riddle and Rollins graphic you can see a chair, a flaming trash can, and most importantly, a lantern. Seems like an odd choice to put that on the graphic, considering it doesn't have anything to do with the fight pit match they're going to have, nor either of the competitors in the match itself. But who knows, maybe the lantern is just for extra spookiness and has nothing to do with Wyatt, despite lanterns being an integral part of basically every gimmick he's had in WWE. But while excitement is up for WWE, an AEW star has voiced their frustration with the company. Current AEW Tag Champion, though maybe for not much longer, everyone loves the Acclaimed, etc., Swerve Strickland recently spoke to Renee Paquette on her Sessions podcast, opening up about his time in WWE and his frustrations during his run in NXT. For that first year, I felt like I was just a good hand to have, and that's also what built up a lot of that resentment. I put over the Leo Rushes, I put over the Cameron Grimeses, I put over the Santos Escobars, I put over the Bronson Reeds, the Austin Theories. I kept putting all these people over. After noting that he tried to have several conversations with Triple H to vent and discuss, he said that I would stare holes in him all day at production. I wanted him to feel the heat that I was glaring on him. Finally, when we did have a conversation, I'm like, what is your hesitation putting the ball in my hands? He gave me the answers that kind of felt like they were repetitious answers from this person asking him, this person asking him, and the one before. After some slight changes to his character with hair color, grills, and leaning more into the hip-hop side of things, he mentioned that Stephanie McMahon was a factor in things being picked up for him. Stephanie McMahon came up and said, "You're like my favorite heel." That's when Hit Row started forming. But despite all that frustration, after Swerve joined AEW, he said the first 3 months was enough to wipe out the 3 years of frustration in WWE. I was just like, my first 3 months in AEW made me completely forget about my last 3 years in WWE. I put all of that focus and energy and that resentment and stuff into building something. And it seems Swerve is following in the footsteps of his boss, as Tony Khan has also taken some shots at WWE. I know. I'm as shocked as you are. This week's Raw viewership was massively down, drawing an average of 1.594 million viewers, which is primarily being chalked up to 2 NFL games running at the same time. Seemingly in response to the NFL chipping away at WWE's viewership, TK tweeted a gif of a guy yelling, "Are you ready for some football?" which could be argued to be Khan expressing his love of football, but that argument maybe would have held more water if he'd have tweeted it, before the game started. But that's not all he's been up to. He's also been promoting Grand Slam, while also taking a dig at WWE at the same time, because of course he did. While noting that Grand Slam was sure to be the best, most wonderful, amazing event in the history of wrestling ever, Khan noted in an interview with New York News that he's excited about AEW's run of upcoming shows in the northeast of the US, and mentioned that it's the crown jewel of wrestling markets, the real crown jewel of wrestling markets, not some BS overseas in Saudi Arabia. Which feels forced, to say the least, but hey, you do you, Tony, make those headlines, because here I am talking about it. TK has also announced that Grand Slam has the largest gate of any Dynamite event they've held so far, breaking that $1 million mark, which is pretty neat for the company. But while that show may be ranked number 1 for Dynamite gates, there's been an update on AEW's on-screen rankings too. The AEW rankings have been a subject of controversy since the company's inception, with some praising the fact that wins and losses actually matter, liking the sports-like feel of the shows, while others think it made it difficult to tell proper stories, and occasionally led to AEW being booked into a corner where their rankings told a different story to the one they wanted to tell on screen. Interestingly, the rankings haven't been updated on AEW's website since August 31st, giving rise to speculation that the company may be done with rankings entirely. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, though, that's not quite true. As he said, they're not dead, but they have been toned down, but they're not dead. There was a decision not to emphasize them as much on television, but they can always go back to doing so. So they can bring up the rankings when it's convenient, but ignore them when they don't want to acknowledge them. Sounds about right. I wonder when FTR will get their tag title shot. In much more real news, though, there's been an update on the assault case of Patrick Clark, the former Velveteen Dream. PW Insider is reporting that after Clark was released from jail in Florida, his upcoming court appearance surrounding charges of battery and trespassing has been cancelled. There is reportedly a lack of evidence in the case, leading the prosecutors to label it not suitable for prosecution. Whiplash right back into silly wrestling news, and Ric Flair wants to wrestle again. Christ. After recently having his last match, teaming with Andrade El Idolo against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, Ric Flair wants to wrestle again, because of course he does. After hearing the news recently that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat would be returning to the ring, Flair said on the To Be The Man podcast that it's inspired him to get back in the ring too. He didn't mention anywhere that Ricky Steamboat reportedly turned down the chance to be in Flair's last match, which I find very funny. Steamboat coming back makes me want to come back again, he said, noting that he'd already gone back to Lincoln and started training again because, and I quote here, "What else is there to do?" Which genuinely, quite sad. Man doesn't have much else besides wrestling, and that's understandable, I guess. But please don't have another match. And ending on some light news, MJF said he hates the Acclaimed, specifically Max Caster. Nice. In his interview with Wrasslin', MJF noted that everyone loves the Acclaimed, except him, before going on a tirade against Max Caster, saying that he consistently makes advances on him on Twitter. Caster, of course, then shared the clip of MJF saying that everyone loves the Acclaimed, but cut out the bit where he said except for him, with the caption, "Thank you, MJF, for the nice words on the Wrasslin' show. You are so handsome. This isn't the first or last time you've given me a rub. Scissor me, daddy. MJF is such a supportive BF. I feel awkward." That's the news.
In this WrestleTalk news, could Bray Wyatt return to WWE this week? Malachi Black wanted to return to WWE. Could Sting be the next leader of the House of Black? And Luke reviews last night's episode of Monday Night Raw.